Welcome to Men of the Prize, the podcast. It's me. It's your host. It's Harvey. What's up? How's the week been? How the days treating you? How are you treating you? Are you treating yourself well? Are you being good to you? I hope you are. Make sure you do that. Not only for yourself, but for the people around you, for your spouse, friends, employees, whatever, and especially your children. We got to take care of ourselves, especially as men. We have the weight of the world. Make sure you take care of yourself. Before we get started, and I introduce another wonderful guest. This one I'm super excited for. But as I prepare for this, I like quotes, and I was looking through, and I found two quotes one that I think is more apropos for the guest, but one just for me as a dad. The first quote that I saw is, "Your fatherhood will outlive you and live inside your children forever." That really resonated with me as a father of four, especially with three girls. It is so important how we father our girls, how we father our children in general. But the lessons that we teach them, the intimacy that they get, the hugs, the kisses, the love, all that stuff. When we leave this world, all that stuff sticks. So it's important that every time you are a parent, every time you are a dad, every time you show love, you show grace, you show empathy, you do it knowing that it's important at that moment, but it's even more important later on. Because 30, 40 years later, when they're parenting their child, they're going to remember how they felt when you treated them that way. Keep that in mind, dads. It is important, the legacy that we leave, not in just money and things that we can hold, but in emotion, in empathy. So keep that in mind. The second quote, and I think it fits my guest, is a simple one. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. My guest this week is the wonderful and incredibly successful is Elijah Desmond. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Harvey?
I am well. Thank you for doing this. I so appreciate your time.
Yes.
All right. One of my favorite parts of the pod is the beginning. I love a good bio. Sit back, relax. This should sound pretty familiar to you. Here we go, my guest. Elijah Desmond began his professional career at the age of 15 as a youth motivational speaker. Always drawn to helping others, Elijah later pursued a degree in healthcare at the Ohio State University. See, I'm a sports fan, so I know how to say that. Keep that in mind. After graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene, Elijah moved to Hawaii and worked in private practice for a brief period. Never complacent, he started his first of many businesses after leaving clinical dentistry and identifies as a serial entrepreneur. Elijah now resides in South Florida with his wife and two daughters. Elijah gets to share his love for music as an MC and DJ to large crowds. He is also vice president for a nonprofit called Beyond the Game, which offers development programs for third grade students called Guys with Ties and Girls with Pearls. Whether he is planning, speaking, emceeing, or DJing, Elijah has been involved in over 500 events. Although he has a wide range of experience, Elijah is most passionate about delivering motivational concerts to young students in high schools worldwide. He has spoken over 1,000 hours collectively and participates in events in 2 to 3 locations per month. Elijah's events and experiences focus on two things: fun and education. Known for having engaging speeches and incorporating motivation into all of his events, Elijah is adamant that a fun atmosphere is essential to learning. Elijah is best known for turning traditional conferences into exciting, modern-day events and festivals. You may also know him for creating Smiles at Sea Cruises and the Dental Festival. Join Elijah and travel the world, one educational experience at a time. That is a bio. That is a mouthful. You have done so very much. I read bios live on purpose. When you've done a lot of podcasts, and a lot of times we'll just read that ahead, pre-record that. I purposely read it for this question. You've done so much. What is it like hearing your accolades read back?
Man, it gives me a whole bunch of memories. And it takes me back to the rooms that I've sat in and the events that I have been a part of. And it's it's awesome to be able to hear that and to continue that bio. It's good to hear.
Excellent. And as much as you've done, you're a young man, so there's so much more to come. I applaud you for what you've done, but I'm excited for what's coming next. And I know all the people who are around you are excited to see what you come up with, the plans, the stuff, you know, the Smiles at Sea and the Dental Festival, all these things that you've done. And it's only the beginning. And it's always good to know that, you know, the past is great, but the future is going to be even better. So that's wonderful to see. Simply put, I love doing this podcast because it's a space for men to talk. That's what this is. We don't talk. We tend to not be the emotional center of families at times. We tend to be the stoic one. We bring in the money. We bring in the bacon to be, you know, to be grilled up and to feed the family. But I created this space for men to talk about whatever they want, to feel comfortable doing it. So if you're a new listener, a new watcher, maybe you jumped on because you saw Elijah was going to be on here. Welcome. And thanks for coming on here. If you've listened and watching, you know where it's going. Prize is the word. It's the center of this podcast. I take 4 of the letters in that word, and they represent characteristics that I think make up a good man. And we're just going to talk about it. The first letter is P. The word is purpose. Reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. What is your purpose, Elijah?
Oh man, that's an easy one. My purpose is saving lives. Number 1, and number 2 is changing them. And I'm able to save lives from story. And that's storytelling, my true, vulnerable, authentic stories from the stage, and changing lives in the exact same way. I sit in front of you today, 222 years wise. And that's from me listening to stories and listening to people that have given me shortcuts to have lived that many years. And I've got the chance to travel the world, change as many lives as I possibly could. But the most important thing by far is saving kids' lives. And that's what I am most passionate about. That's what I will do. Even after work is done and retirement happens, I will still continue to go and save the lives of these kids and change the lives of many people.
Excellent. So obviously you get to meet and talk to and just be around young people who can be helped. I would imagine that your life is changed also as you're around these people.
Absolutely. When somebody comes up to you and whispers in your ear after you've only had 1 hour with them, I was going to go home and take my life, but I'm not now because of the words that you said from that microphone. Changes everything. See, a lot of people have addictions, and I got an addiction at 15 years old, and I'm still addicted to this day. And no, it's not food. I'm addicted to those words that come every time that I'm on stage. I have lines of people standing in line to ultimately take a picture, shake my hand, give me a hug. But some of those kids' hugs, they don't stop hugging you. You know, like the hug that you've seen in the airports when the military come back to their loved ones, and their loved ones never knew if they were going to see each other again. And that hug is so strong, it's tight, and it doesn't end anytime soon. Well, that's the same hug I get when I get off stage from some of the kids. Not everybody, but some of those kids. And the hug oftentimes ends with a wet shoulder and them whispering something in my ear. If they don't tell me that day, maybe it's the week after or the day after on social media, or even 2 years after. And the words are those messages I shared earlier, that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. So it's a addiction that I love and that I feed into.
Do you remember the last person that changed your life?
The last person that changed my life, do I remember them? Yes, my kids. My first kid being born, that changed everything for me. I have 2 beautiful little girls. One is 5, and the other one is 9. And when that 9-year-old came into me and my wife's life unexpectedly, because we were not married at the time, and we thought she couldn't even have kids. That was my little boo thing. That was my girl, not even titled girl, you know, it wasn't even official at the time. And I was really, I had a moment of, um, my life is about to change. And I mentally stopped anything from coming on the bad side. Like my life is over. No, no, no. My life is just getting started.
Mm.
And I've
Mm.
always been an entrepreneur and owned many businesses. And I'm a self-starter. I'm self-made. But when you have to take care of little ones, it changes everything. You go from taking care of you and maybe the fun for your friends, to ultimately having two girls, one being a full-grown girl, an adult, the other one being a little child that you now have to take care of, changes everything. And that's well before number two came along 4 years later.
Wonderful. I know that feeling. That when, you know what? I'll ask you. I feel like it's kind of cliche for men. Oh, you know what? When you have a kid, everything changes. All of a sudden, there's this switch that flips. But I remember it. I remember that moment. You bring that child comes in, and literally, I stop caring about what's happening to me. And literally, that moment. Okay, how am I going to get her dressed? How am I going to get her fed? All these things. Is that a literal moment? Is that something that you maybe even look back to once in a while?
No, I don't look back to it actually. That was the first time that I've actually thought of that, about this little girl changed everything. But she did. And I don't think about that often, to be honest with you. I rarely think about that because I'm so focused on the future. Um, I don't really take a moment to look back at the past. Kind of like I don't typically hear my bio read on any podcast or any stage that I get on. I just have my walk on music and I get to the stage and present myself. So it's rare to reflect on past moments like that. But in a moment of reflection, that is the main thing and the only thing I can think of that completely changed everything. And it wasn't a trajectory that I was not already on, because I was not sitting around on the couch. I was grinding. I was on planes all of the time. I was home for 7 days of the month because I was needed to speak on this stage or that stage or go and work with an entrepreneur here or there that I was not home often already. So I needed to figure out a way to be more efficient with my time as time grew.
Okay. Since we're talking about, I typically wait a little bit with this question, but we're talking about it, so I'm going to do it. 2 daughters. If I had the opportunity to meet either one of them, I ask this question because this says a lot about what we men think of ourselves. If I was able to speak maybe to the older, and I asked her, tell me about your daddy, how would she describe you to me?
He's really fun. He gets me what he gets me what I want for the most part. He travels a lot for work.
Mm-hmm.
She would say that he don't got no hair. He got a bald head. She would probably call me funny. I would say number one, he's my coach. My little girl lit up so bright recently. Both my girls asked me to coach them in basketball. See, my athletic career was completely ripped from me in high school, and I was the athlete as a wrestler and also as a football player. And I got misdiagnosed with a neck condition. I didn't find out until half a decade later when it came to potentially playing and walking on at the Ohio State University. And my whole career got completely just taken from me, my athletic career. And I always wanted a little boy. I always wanted a little boy, selfishly, to continue what I got cut off. Now, who knows? That little boy may not have been interested in sports. They may have not been into it at all. And would I have, resented, him for that? Hope not. Don't know. But I ended up with 2 little girls, and my little girls have been interested in cheerleading. That's it. My girls asked me at the dinner table one night, Daddy, would you be our basketball coach? And I said, when's basketball start? And it's December, end of December, January. And this is when they asked me this question. They asked me this question in August and end of August. And I had to tell them, no, I can't be your basketball coach because Daddy has a lot of business and I can't cancel on people. January, February, March, I can't cancel. But what I can do is if you love it, I can block off my schedule for the following year and I can be your coach. Man, that ate me up. It ate me up. It ate me inside, and I could not stop thinking about it. And the only thing I could think to myself was, oh my goodness, these girls, they want to play and they want their daddy to coach, and I'm not there when they ask me to. So what if they go and they play and they hate it? For the rest of my life, I will regret canceling these major contracts with major people in major places making major money.
Right.
But what's more important, right? My reputation in entrepreneurship, in the world of DJing, emceeing, speaking, auctioneering, right? Is that more important, or is it my reputation with my own daughters? And can't lie, I wasn't going to work this hard to get this far to say no to the things and the commitments I already made in business. So my natural reaction was I can't. And I let that sit. Man, my biggest responsibility is my little girls. And so I put the business on hold for 3 months. And I basically called everybody and said, hey, if you can't have me on a Thursday or Friday, fortunately, I got to cancel. I'll help find somebody else, but I got to cancel. My other girls need me. And so I'm happy to say I caught it on film while I was playing basketball with my oldest. I told her, I said, hey, I got a surprise for you. I said, Daddy's going to be your coach. Her eyes, oh my God, her eyes lit up so big. I was able to I'll remember that moment forever, but I captured it. It meant more to me than it even meant for her. But I showed up for my little girl, and both my girls, unfortunately, I can't coach both of them. So I'm coaching my oldest, but I'll be in the gym with them while she's coaching now. Mama, who don't got no business being a basketball coach, is an assistant basketball coach for the other side, for the other team. But at the end of the day, I showed up for them, and I chose them over business. And it wasn't just one business meeting or one opportunity. I mean, you're talking, 6 figures plus in business to keep that on the table because they're more important.
And thank you so much for opening up about that. And that's a big issue for men who work-life balance. It's so hard because you want to be there for everybody. And then at some point we have to make a decision.
That's right.
And clearly you made the right one. And I think it's safe to say that given if it's humanly possible, choosing your kids, your family is always the way to go because they'll remember that.
Yes. However, I will say that there's self in there that was not spoke about, right? There is family and there's business, and a family and work balance is important. But oftentimes when we're so focused on those two things that seem the most important, they're not. The most important piece of all of that is you. And thank you. So health, it actually supersedes family, and health supersedes business, because you can work as hard as you want. You can be the best dad in the world and not be around for what you built. To not see your kid turn 10 years old, right? To not see your kid off to college, to not walk them down the aisle. And oftentimes when you're so focused on family and building your empire for your family, which in turn is business, you forget about yourself. And multiple times during this journey, I have forgot about myself. I put myself last. And really, I'm going to tell you, at the beginning of the year, 2024, my biggest focus is on me. It's actually not my family. That may be selfish, but it's not if you look at the big picture. Second piece of business is my family. Third is business. But I've done this time and time again. I've been so caught up in business, so caught up in family, so caught up in the balance that I've completely forgot about myself, and I let myself go. And you know, functioning on no sleep. I got to get this work done. I got to grind. I'm going to be up till 3 a.m., whatever it takes. That's not healthy. You know, eating terrible food, putting in terrible food to your temple of your body. That's not okay. You know, I look like a bee stung me right now because your buddy is big for himself. He's unhealthy, and I'm not unhealthy on anything but the worst drug, and that's food. Food is the enemy, and food is an addiction as well. And at the end of the day, I think that that's something that's left out of a lot of conversations because it's about that 50-50 balance with the family. And it's not always 50-50, let's just say it like that. And it's not always 30-30-30. And the person who has figured it out and has cracked that ultimate code, I'm willing to pay top dollar for. Because that's a shortcut to make sure I get to 1,000 years wise.
I hear that. And I said this, I think even before we started recording, that the reason this is created is for men to talk about anything, but our issues are the most important. We never put ourselves at the top of our lists. Rarely do we ever. Our health. Black men predisposed for heart conditions, hypertension, diabetes, all these things that can kill us, things that we can to some degree control. But then we set out to go into the world and take care of others. And it's amazing and wonderful for you to hear that you've decided to make yourself the focus. And when you do that, everything else falls into place. You're here to handle business. You're here to be daddy. You're here for all that stuff. And isn't that the most important thing? I think being present for everything, for all the good things that are meant to happen in this world for us.
That's right.
So I like hearing that. The next letter in the word prizes are the word is resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. I feel like you circling it. Can you think of a situation, something that happened to you that helped you discover you had a resilience you didn't know you had?
Stuff has happened to me my whole life. And so I've been built off of resilience. I also put myself in very uncomfortable situations and very vulnerable situations that most people would not. And so you have to be a resilient person if you're going to put yourself in those situations. And so when you talk about one specific thing that's resilience, I will jump to when I was a young boy and I was finding out who I was. And I didn't know who I was as a little boy around the age of 11, 12, 13 years old. And I grew up with my dad, who is black, my mom, who is white. And I didn't know if I was supposed to be black or white. I didn't know. I go to the all-white school, and in the all-white school, I'll be rocking Sean John and FUBU, right? And that wasn't cool there. And so I switched my clothes up a little bit, wore Abercrombie, popped my collar, and went to the hood where my stepmom was. And that wasn't okay there. So I went back to the school with a part in my hair and noticed everybody looking at me crazy like the one black kid in the school. Because, look, I could be half black and half white, but I'm a black man. People see me as a black man. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'll tell you what I am. I am human. I am my authentic self. I am biracial. A lot of people don't talk about that. I see both sides, right?
Right.
And I go back to the hood. All of a sudden, I got the right gear on that I wore just for the weekend, and my voice is too high. Now I'm a white boy in the hood. So eventually I say, you know what? I'm going to stop pretending or trying to be this person, trying to be that person. I'm going to show up as my authentic self. I am an athlete. I have dark skin, and I'm a good person. And you can take it or you can leave it. That's what it's going to be. And all of the sudden, this athlete started having all these friends. And one day, I'm in a football game and I get stinger, which sent me into a condition, essentially, where my top vertebrae was fused to my skull. And that reputation that I built of Elijah Desmond, the athlete who's in the all-white school, captain, got ripped completely from me. And that was the name I built for myself, right? I was kind. You know, I only got in trouble for talking in school. Now I get paid to do so. I showed respect to everybody. And I was an athlete. And I was told one day, you can't be an athlete no more. So what did I have to do? I had to pivot. I went to college early, 15 years old, full-time in college, full ride scholarship, right? And I had to make this huge pivot. It was almost like somebody ripped the identity completely from me. And the same identity has been ripped from me multiple times during my journey, right? And so what do I go back to? I always go back to my core values. Who are you? Your core values. You can build anything. You're kind to people. You're a fun person. You want to do the best for everyone. Treat everybody with respect. And you show up as you. You can build anything. But that identity, the thing that you fall in love with, knowing that it can change, is one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do. But when you learn that you are capable of anything, that's when anything is possible. And I am capable of anything. And I put myself in vulnerable situations in which I am uncomfortable and I am forced with my back up against the wall to react. And every single time I come up swinging and I come up winning. And that's the game of the pivot in life and the game of resilience. Resilience makes you grow like a rubber band, bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how I feel about resilience.
That's it. That's wonderful. Wow. That's probably the best answer I've heard for that question. Resilience feels like the way I think for a lot of men, how we live. We have to be able to deal with the punches. Life is at times a boxing match. I'm ducking, I'm trying to avoid the jab, trying to avoid the uppercut, and being able to switch and deal. This is the dream. It's not this is what I wanted. I'm not getting it. Maybe it's something else. So it's wonderful. Everything you said was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not looking for ducking and weaving from uppercuts, from jabs, from nothing. I'm always on the offense.
I see that.
I'm always on the offense, and I'm planning my next move. The pieces where it gets uncomfortable is where you're not playing offense anymore, and your back is against the wall, and now you have to play defense. I think it makes us stronger. I just got goosebumps. It makes us stronger, the things that we have to go through, right? And some people don't put themselves in a situation that have to that you have to potentially lose, or your back has to be against the wall. They're afraid to put themselves in that uncomfortable situation. And that's not me. And call me crazy, but I put myself in some vulnerable situations. However, my record is very good for coming out of it. It's 100%. I fail, but I really don't, because I learn from those failures. Those failures, I gather them all up, I put them in a box, and I build something else. I build the next thing. That's a brick that I just built, and I'm gonna build a whole bunch of bricks till I get to my empire. But at the end of the day, if you don't fail temporarily, if you don't fail, you don't have no bricks to lay, because you didn't go through nothing, because you were afraid to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. And I'm not.
You are proactive. You are not reactive. I feel like that's the best way. And another wonderful answer. I'm going to skip the I for now. The next letter in the word prize is Z. The word is zeal. And that is enthusiastic devotion. Now, I asked this question Zeal for me is representative for a lot of men. We deal with life, our family, our work, all the things that we do, and life is stressful. What do you do for you, Elijah? Not for the girls, not for your wife, not for the $1 million contracts, for the people that depend on you and your organizations. What do you do for you when life can get just sometimes overbearing and you need something for you so that you can maintain?
That's easy. I listen to music, number one.
That's what's up.
I put music on and I put it loud. Don't tell me to turn my music down. I put it loud. I get outside. I DJ. I play music.
Right.
I'll go on a walk with my headphones in. I'll go on a drive with my car blasted to a 10 like a little teenager. If I have major subwoofers, them bad boys will be pounding and shaking the roof. I listen to music, and that's what I do whenever I get in my mood or in my feelings. Right, I just need a place to go out. You know, whenever I'm at a situation, that didn't have to be a rock bottom place. I've only been there 3 times in my life, and it's a familiar place. But a place that I just need to get out. I need a out. My out is music, and I would say my second out in the way that I distract myself and get out of a bad place or a hole that I'm in is I go and I purely give. I give to people that need me. I help people that need me. I give, you know, my 220 years of entrepreneur experience to the world, and I don't want nothing in return. Neither will I accept it. I give. And when all of a sudden you're giving and you really see like, dang, they're in a way worse situation than I am. You know, I'm over here thinking my situation is bad, and I got hit with a loss of $20,000 a month. Somebody's trying to get their first $2,500. So all of a sudden, my problems are not that serious. They're not that bad. But if I go and I figure it out by helping people, that's what helps me get out of my space. So I'm either listening to music or I'm helping. I'm serving. I'm listening to music and I'm serving. And I can come right out of that space. If I get put in a corner and I need to come out, right? And that corner doesn't mean a corner of a situation where it's a life-changing event. It means that I'm in a situation. Everybody goes through a funk or goes through a low. If I want to get out of the low, if it's a regular daily low, I'm listening to music. If it's a serious low, the only way I'm coming out is serving my people.
I like that. I'm a music head like you are. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm an 80s kid. Who are you? You know, just I'm going off the point. You had a tough day. You can take a walk around the neighborhood. What album are you throwing on? What you listening to when you're walking around the neighborhood?
Listen, I don't care what album it is. I'm listening to some Lil Baby. I'm listening to some DJ Khaled.
Okay.
That is what's going in on my headphones.
Okay.
And listen, I got my old school. I was born in 87. I got my version of old school, and that's 90s. And I play that for my people. It's not necessarily something I play for myself all the time.
Right.
You know, when you hear people that say words that you can relate to, it's everything, right? I can relate to a lot of his things. And even though that I was never wrapped up in anything that I shouldn't, I had friends that did. I take those situations and I relate them to the struggles that I personally went through. His humbleness, his journey, you know, from people that go into shows and nobody's showing up, right? Or driving a real long place for, you know, $1,500 when he's used to making some other crazy money in order to elevate his career. Boy, I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to music. And I got a lot of artists. That's just a couple. You know, DJ Khaled is a DJ, right. You know, with this amazing family and his golfing mentality. I don't golf, I do other things, but like his whole demeanor is just something I vibe with. I really like people like that. I don't vibe with people that are only talking about the street, only, you know, focuses guns and violence. This is not something I'm into. I don't really rock with that stuff too much. But I do like me some Lil Baby, and the list goes on. I can go on and on with music, but I like to make music. I like to make people dance. And when I say make music, I'm not a producer. right? I'll take one song and I'll mash it into the next song and create a new song in between, if that makes sense. So
Understood.
you take your acapella with just the voices, and you take the instrumental, and the 8 bars, you're blending your music together. And that's the type of DJ that I am, and the type of music that I like to get down to.
Excellent. It sounds good. All right. The last letter in the word prize is E, and the word is expectation. A strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. For you, I feel like this is just the way you're just continuously moving anyway. But dare I ask, a year from now, where is Elijah?
In a better place. In a better place. Okay. I'm just in a better place. I mean, expectations to me have a lot to do with optimism, and I will probably be the most optimistic person you will ever meet. One of my best friends say that that's the reason for my success, is because I'm expecting something that is so crazy optimistic that most people would not even believe it, but I do, and that's all that matters. And so I'll get way further than most people would, because my goals are super ambitious. And even though I might not always hit that goal, I'm close. I'm close to the goal. I might reach for the stars, but I'm at least hopping on top of a cloud, right? You know, and so my expectations are always exceedingly high. They're very high, and it's really helped me to get where I'm at. But I'm going to be in a better place at the end of the year, at the beginning of next year, a year from now. I'm in a better place. I'm gonna look better. I'm gonna feel better. I'm gonna make more money unapologetically. I'm gonna help other people make a lot more money than I made combined. And I'm just gonna be a better me than I was last year.
That's it. I love you're right. Optimistic. You are the most optimistic person. With ease, it's like beaming off of you. It feels like this. I'm going to do better. It's not when. It's not if. It's definitely. It's just only a matter of time. I feel that just by hearing you speak.
A lot of people talk about affirmations and what you put into the world and the law of attraction. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a law of attraction guy.
Okay.
However, I respect them. I love it because it's all positive. But I'm going to tell you this. You can say something all you want. I'm going to be a better dad. I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to stay at home more. I'm going to lose weight. But I'm going to tell you, just saying it and putting it up on a vision board ain't going to do nothing for you. How about that action? What you going to do about it? What are you going to do? How are you going to take your vision and your dream, and how are you going to articulate that into a reality, not with your voice, but through actions? I'm going to make this amount of money. I'm going to lose this amount of weight. No. It's not that easy. In order to make this amount of money, tomorrow I'm going to do this. By the end of the next month, I'm going to do this. Within 6 months, I'm going to do this. And if I want to lose 50 pounds, I need to lose this amount per week. How am I going to lose that amount per week? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put all these things in order to hold myself accountable, because accountability is everything as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I'm going to do everything that I need to be accountable to those goals, and I'm going to hit them. I'm going to be on this podcast. I'm going to be 50 pounds lighter, at least. Mark that word. And go ahead and interview me in 1 more year.
That's what's
I'm going to be 50 pounds lighter. My pocket's going to be bigger, and I'm going to affect a ton more people in their pockets too. All my entrepreneurs. And how am I going to do that? Action, accountability, being around the right people that are saying the right things. That's going to take me from 222 years old to 250 years old in a year.
I see. Well, how about that action? Take that, put that on a bumper sticker or a t-shirt. When you said that, I'm like, I need to leave you and go do something right now. How about that action? That hit me. I felt that. in my soul. And I feel like and I needed to hear that just for me. I needed to hear that. I have dreams, but we can all have dreams, but there's nothing behind it. We just talking to talk. You got to walk that walk. How about that action? I love that. I absolutely love that. Let's go back into you though. So we covered the 4 letters. The I does not represent a word. It represents the man. So there's so much to you. You are a husband, a father, a coach, an entrepreneur. You do so much. When all that is DJ, MC, all much. There's so much to Elijah. But when we take all that off of you, when it's just you at your core, and you said it, but who are you when you take all that other stuff away?
I am an authentic, normal human that has a lot of goals and accomplished a lot of goals. But you take that away, I'm somebody that can't sit still in a room. Put me in a room by myself, take away my entire bio, right? Take away my CV, take away all the things and the classes I've learned, the people I've met, the countries I've been to. You take away everything, and you find the authentic Elijah that you've seen on the road. You're going to find a young man, 36 years old, by the way, with ants in my pants to get the heck out that room. I'm not staying in the room. If I build a room, I'm trying to build another room. After I built that room, I'm going to go build another one. And it's not going to be for me. It's going to be for other people. And see, here's the thing. Eventually, you become bored with building rooms. And you go and start building houses. So you can find me building houses. See, the biggest issue that I have, that's an issue, it's a blessing and a curse, is I can't stay in the same dang room. I need to move rooms. After I climb the mountain, I'm trying to find a bigger mountain. In a safer way up that mountain. A faster way up that mountain. I want somebody to just pick me up and put me to the top of that mountain. But at the top of the mountain, I get bored. So you pull away everything. You find this young man, bald-headed, tatted up. You know, you might not know he's got a bald head. He's got a hat on backwards half the time. And I'm sitting in the room by myself, got ants in my pants to do the next thing. I'm antsy. I got to move. I got to move, you know.
Okay.
Conquer one thing, you go to the next. Conquer that, you keep going to the next. And you teach people exactly how you went and did the first, the second, and third, and teach them how to build an empire.
Love it. I love that answer. And you just actually, with your last line, you led into something. Thank you for answering the questions in the P.R.I.Z.E mantra. I appreciate that. I have a few more random podcasty questions I want to ask you. And the first one is this. Do you prefer to teach or to learn?
Ooh, man, I'm going to tell you this. It is amazing to learn. It is amazing to learn. And it feels good to continue to grow my brain. But I'm going to have to go with teaching. It's better to teach because the feeling that you get when you've watched somebody cross a milestone or they listen to you and you've been able to teach them a shortcut. And I also feel while I am teaching and while I'm mentoring, while I'm coaching, while I'm experience sharing, I'm learning too. I'll never stop learning. And I learn from people that are not where I'm at in my career. Because I'm good at a few things. I'm really good at a few things, but I'm also terrible at stuff too. I'm terrible. You know what I do? I hire those people that are better than me because I believe in paying for shortcuts.
Okay.
I believe in paying for shortcuts and being in the fast lane. You know, I don't like waiting around for success. I go get it. I don't wait. I don't like wasting my time. You know, you've probably been to a nightclub or a club or of some sort at some point in your life, and you've seen that long line. Do you know there's a way to get to the front that works every single time? You pay the man. Go pay that security guard $100. $100, you're going to get an hour more of your night that you didn't have before. You're not going to wait in the cold or the hot. You're going to be in a good mood. You're going to get to dance, laugh, sing. And if you drink, you can have a couple more drinks by then. But at the end of the day, you pay for shortcuts. You cut checks for speed. And if you can pay for shortcuts enough time, you will end up being way beyond your years because you paid for that. Was it risky? Sure. Was it maybe embarrassing at times? Only if you're trying to hide something from somebody. Vulnerability is everything. And keeping it real is so important. You don't tell people how you lost, you're never going to win.
See,
you tell people how you win, and that's all you tell them, you're still not going to win. You have lost.
Okay. As enjoyable as it is for you to teach, do you remember the last thing that you learned?
The last thing that I learned. Oh man. The last thing that I learned from a advice standpoint or from an academy or schooling of some sorts.
A life lesson, something that benefits you, that benefits Elijah in any way, no matter who taught it to you.
Man, you know, the last thing that I learned is essentially, I heard this from one of my good friends. She told me that it's easier to 10x something than it is to 2x something. And I took that and I understood that ultimately you put in your same amount of effort that you're putting in now. And you can choose what the outcome is of that effort. So you could be working on something that is massive, that is huge, that spits out so much, or you could be working on something that gets you a smaller result. Ultimately, if we're specifically talking about business, I could go and I could sell Mrs. Fields cookies, $5 a cookie, and I could spend my time that I have awake, say 12 hours in a day or more like 16, and I could sell Mrs. Fields cookies for $5. Or I could sell something that was $5,000 or $50,000. I have the same amount of time. I choose the way that I'm spending my time. Do I spend that time on $5 cookies or $50,000 experiences? So I woke up one day recently. I said, you know what? I'm going to start selling experiences on a private jet. That private jet cost me about $50,000. Worth it? Yup. $50,000 experience. Is it worth it? Sure is. Yep. Same effort that it would take for me to sell something that's $700. Same effort. Maybe different audience. Change rooms.
Okay. Damn. Obviously, entrepreneurs are listening to you when you speak it on stages, on Smiles at Sea, or a whole lot of things that you were doing. Give me something we got a man here who's listening, who's ready to start a business. He has this idea. Maybe he's got his business plan. He's spoken to gurus, to whatever. He's read the books. He's watched the videos. Tell me something, or tell that man something that he would not find readily available. Give me a gem to succeed in business that you probably wouldn't hear anywhere else.
Keep showing up. Keep showing up as your authentic self. That's the biggest gem that I could give you. Keep showing up. I can tell you how to structure your business, how to make it the safest possible, how to create a ridiculous monthly residual income or MRR. But at the end of the day, you can just show up as your authentic self, and you keep showing up over and over and over, and you never change, and you don't have to worry about changing. And why do you not have to worry about changing? Because you showed up as you. I'm able to show up wherever I want in some leopard. I'm able to show up anywhere. Everybody can be wearing tuxes and suits and dress shoes. I'll pull up in some chucks and a leopard hoodie, and nobody's going to think like, oh my gosh, Elijah's feeling this way for today. Or who does he think he is? I think I'm me. I think I am me, and I'm unapologetically me. And guess what? If I want to wear 2 mismatched shoes one day with this leopard, guess what I'm going to wear? Those mismatched shoes. That's me. That's my brand. That's who I am. I didn't fake it. I woke up and I felt this way. So what did I do? I wore the clothes I wanted to wear. I have the personality that I have. I do everybody right. I'm the kindest person that you'll ever meet. But I'm different. I own it. And I'm never going to change. So if you feel a certain way and you are a certain person, be that person. Don't just feel it. Do it. If you're pulled in this direction, you're pulled in that direction, go if that's you. And if you're kind, if you're doing the right things for the right reasons, and you're never going to have to apologize for being yourself as long as you're doing the right thing.
Love that. That's perfect. 2 questions and we're done here. Is there something that you are afraid of that you cannot control?
Something that I'm afraid of that I cannot control. I mean, the first thing I think about is my little girls ending up with the wrong man, but I can control that. Right? That's me being the best me that I possibly can, but can I really control that? How do you want your kids to turn out? You know, who do you want your kids to end up marrying one day? I can do my best. I can go on daddy-daughter dates and teach them about opening up the door and closing it like a gentleman should. I can compliment my little girls and make sure that I treat them with respect, that I can take them out and treat them like a queen. And I can treat their mother the exact same. All I can do is the best, but the biggest fear is doing your best and not being able to control what you can't control. And so the way that I have battled that thought in my head is continue to show up as the best me and provided the best example and the best foundation that I only know how to do. And believe it or not, everybody's a parent for the first time. Sometimes you get a second crack at it. You know, some people are, they already got a grown 25-year-old and they start all over with a baby, right? But majority of people, it's your first rodeo. Even if you're experiencing 4 rodeos at one time, you only been a parent once for the most part for majority of people. So I would say that's probably my biggest fear that I want to be able to control, that I know that I can't, but I can just do my best until we'll see.
Okay. So let's flip the coin. What are you afraid of that you can control?
My ability to turn off the entrepreneur switch. The fact that, am I ever going to be able to turn it off? I'm a creator. I can create anything. I can turn it off. Do I want to? It's a blessing and a curse. And I've been really good at it. I've been really good, but let's just be honest. I create this and create that. I can control that, though. So that would be my biggest thing.
Okay. Have you ever been accused of arrogance?
No. Nobody has told me that I'm arrogant unless I didn't hear it to my face. I'm extra confident, but I'm not a bragger. You ask me a story, I'll tell it. I'll sit in the back of the room quiet, shake my head. But I haven't been accused of arrogance before. I will tell you that anytime that I come out and talk about a huge accomplishment, it starts with the vulnerable story about how I made a huge failure and how the story began. And the story doesn't always end up as a happy ending. I just call it being real.
I ask that because obviously you mentioned you're biracial, but for Black men, being confident knowing what you've accomplished, knowing your talents, your skills, knowing what you're going to bring to this world, knowing what you've already done, at times can appear to be arrogant. I don't see arrogance. I see a man who knows what he's going to do, knows what he's done already, knows he's got a lot more coming.
Yes, and I think that you get around arrogance as one extreme and imposter syndrome, which is the other extreme,
Right.
by just being real. Any real person is not going to stand in front of the room and say, I never lost. Right?
Right. I hear that.
And if you do, you will be accused of being this arrogant jerk. I've never lost. All I do is win. That is one extreme. The other extreme is imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I'm pretending to be here, but I feel like I'm faking it. Fake it till you make it. That's imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I don't feel like I'm there yet. That's imposter syndrome. And that's the other extreme. And I sit somewhere right in that middle. And I accomplished that from being authentic and being real. Yes, I went and I had these successes, but all these failures I have right around. It's a sandwich of successes and failures. And if you can be real, like I started DJing, and I got to the stage and I said, hey everybody, I'm gonna be DJing tonight, but this is only gonna be my second time ever DJing. So if the music stops, man, forgive me, just know I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna make sure you guys have a good time tonight, but I'm not the best yet. But I'm gonna aspire to get there. Thanks for coming tonight. We're gonna have a good time. And what happens is when I get up on the turntable and my belly bumped the controller switch all the way to the left, and it dead silence, and I didn't know what happened. I got everybody cheering. Elijah or DJ Smiles, let's go. They're standing on the floor with no music. How did that happen? Because I was unapologetically being myself. I was being my authentic self. I did not get up there and say, I'm the best, ain't nobody better. You're going to dance the whole night away. Everybody's going to stay on my dance floor. Instead, I said, I might make a mistake because this is my first or second time. And if I mess up, please stay there. And they stood there with me and they chanted beside me. And this is at the beginning of my journey. And I got a lot of learning to do. And I feel like you'll get a lot more about all the ways that I felt. You'll get a lot more out of conversations about how I fell to my knees and how I fell on my face than how I went and seen the top of that mountain. So arrogance, nah, I don't get that. I'm too real. Confident, absolutely. And I'll confidently lose all day, and I'm okay with it. I'm going to tell you all about it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for answering the questions and being so vulnerable and open about you. Where can these men find you? Where can we go to absorb this energy, this action? Where am I going to find this action? Where am I finding Elijah Desmond?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very reachable. You can reach out many directions. I mean, you can go straight to Google and type in Elijah Desmond and see all of the channels. Instagram is DJ Smiles, DJ_Smiles DJ. LinkedIn, I'm there. LinkedIn, Elijah Desmond. ElijahDesmond.com is my official website. Facebook is Elijah Desmond. I'm on all the social platforms for the most part. I haven't tapped into TikTok yet. I might even have a little old YouTube page, but for the most part, I'm very reachable. You just type in Elijah Desmond to Google and you'll find 8 different ways to get a hold of me and probably 80 different pages of content and material of me being my authentic self.
Fantastic. And I am so glad that I got to experience this authentic Elijah. Thank you for answering questions and talking about everything. It was a pleasure to listen to you. I gained so much from this limited time that we got to speak. I got some quotes. I got some energy. If we can bottle you up and sell you, I would be paid right now. Let's see if I can find a way to do that. But All the information Elijah just gave about himself will be in the episode notes. I hope you gained as much from this as I did. I will end this podcast like I always do. Elijah, thank you so much for listening and just talking. Men, I do my best to bring positive images of masculinity of men to this podcast. Somebody you can gain from, somebody you can learn from. And we definitely learn from Mr. Desmond. I leave you with this. What's about that action? I'm not even saying it right, but let me find it. How about that action? Anytime I get a podcast and I get a quote, feel good about that. How about that action? That's good. I will leave you with this. Just remember how important and how valuable you are in this world. Life is a struggle sometimes, and we do our best to succeed and be proactive and do all the things and try to succeed for ourselves, for our family, for everybody around us. And sometimes life just pushes up against the wall and we struggle. And sometimes we wonder if we should even keep fighting, and don't ever think that way. If nothing else, someone is waiting for your call, for your presence, for your knowledge, for your laughter, for anything. You are important to somebody, to more than one person. So you can't leave. You can't go. You can't make that negative decision. You can't end this. There's so much more to come. Like my guest, you've done so much already, and there's so much more to come. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Never, ever, ever forget that you are a man and you're the prize. I'll see you next week.